What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about Lucid, I want to go over some of the current data points, what's really hyping up the broader market, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid's up 0.86%, 1013 the high, 987 the low. So Lucid's kind of just piggybacking off of the broader market, nothing really significant coming out from them. We are seeing somewhat low volume today, so 2.8 million shares being traded. Most likely, a lot of institutions are waiting for the FOMC minutes to come out, and that should be coming out in the next 45 minutes. That potentially could give some insight on whether the Fed members are more oriented towards a rate cut, and that would be huge for the broader market, really hype everyone up, or really just pop the optimism even more than what has happened. But nonetheless, market going up right now. NASDAQ up 1.26%. It looks like market wants to kind of stay on the optimistic side. We also did get some pretty kick-ass data that came out early this morning. So we did have right over here mortgage applications, mortgage market index, both coming in a lot better than the previous. And in both cases, the last several reports have been somewhat negative. So again, that's kind of a nice change of events. Building permits and housing starts, we did get 2 rounds of data, both for November and December. All came in much better than anticipated. Housing starts, in fact, with it being at 1.4 million, that was, I think we're at the like 6-7 month high. So definitely things are looking pretty good. But like I mentioned, I think for the broader market, it is going to be the minutes. That's going to be the big deciding point. There really hasn't been that much in news from Lucid, and most likely don't anticipate any news from Lucid up until their earnings. So they're kind of a little bit of a quiet period. One thing as well I do want to share with you though is what was just announced by Uber is that they are investing 100 million to build a network of fast charging AV stations. So this is kind of reminding me of Rivian. So for those of you that kind of been following Rivian for a couple of years now, they've been investing a lot of money and they built a good foundation. Right now they're using Tesla, their charging network, but by 2030, them alongside GM and many others, they're building kind of another company essentially to pretty much counter Tesla. This reminds me very much of that. And even it says right here, Uber hopes to compete more effectively with dominant AV players like Waymo and Tesla. So in general, this is like Lucid partnering with Uber might be a lot bigger than what we kind of forecast. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Only other thing that kind of came out was kind of this, Tristan just doing a post, just putting it in perspective on how a lot of the largest institutions who own Lucid didn't really do that much. None of them sold in Q4. You did see some kind of call options being reduced 1%, nothing significant. That could have been just actual options being exercised, but nonetheless, definitely good stuff. So a lot of institutions are kind of loading the boat behind the scenes. Looking at shorts today, they're returning about 19,000 shares, so nothing too significant. So I think everyone and their dog is just holding their breath. Outside of Wednesday, we do have a lot of big data coming out on Friday. So we have GDP and PCE. That definitely will move the market as well. But 33.85% of the free float is being shorted today, or as of today, about 44 million shares. So yeah, DTC being still 6.17 days does really signal that shorts are very overextended. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. If you kind of analyze what the shorts have been doing as well, kind of shows that they generally don't know where Lucid's going to go. Even though Lucid's very close to kind of the all-time low ultimately, which I think right now is sitting at 950, if I remember. Yes, 950. So even though we're sitting very close to the all-time lows, them not doubling down, it kind of signals that maybe they feel we are very close to the bottom, or at least they're maybe worried about their upcoming earnings, and Lucid could just easily give some good future guidance and go up 20+%, similar to Rivian. So again, reading between lines, shorts not increasing or doubling down is fairly optimistic if you ask me. Looking at the options, this is very low, so 165,000 in calls, 367,000 in puts. So again, not really much to kind of analyze based on this. 56% of all the options being done are bullish in nature though, so it kind of reminds me of yesterday a little bit. But even just puts it in perspective how low the volume has been. So today we're sitting at about 536,000 in total premiums. Yesterday 3.4 million, day prior less than a million, less than a million as well on the 12th. So yeah, definitely a lot of just quiet days for the options. From a bull standpoint though, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around 10.50 to 11. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 10. You do have some around that $9 strike price. That could be most likely just hedging, but 2 transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000, both buys, one for 530, other one for 198,000. These are all the transactions occurring on the dark pool. And so you don't really see that much in whole numbers, 1 or 2 right over here. So it is fair to assume that most of this is linked to shorting. So right now with it at 998, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 1002 is going to be that key pivot. You ideally want to watch for Lucid to get above today. 986 is going to be that next strong support, and it kind of bounced off of that general area for the low today. So yeah, definitely interesting stuff is occurring. Aside from that, on the actual chart itself, like I kind of mentioned already, just very low volume, so everyone's just kind of waiting for how the minutes are going to come out. But ideally it does get above that 50-day moving average over the next week. And at least for today, or maybe even tomorrow, it gets above that 10-day moving average. If not, you are going to be seeing some more consolidation. And like I kind of mentioned, the minutes, if it shows still a lot of inconsistency, no different than the last round, then yeah, unfortunately the market might throw a little bit of a temper tantrum. But stochastic RSI is at 49, so it's somewhat neutral in nature. No new analyst ratings, no articles really coming out, so it is just at the mercy of the broader market. Market position though, on a side note, you do see a lot more willing buyers right now, up until around that 980 range, and conveniently that was kind of roughly the low. So we do see a lot of willing buyers, and so that's always a positive thing. Let me know your general thoughts on Lucid. Are you optimistic? Are you bearish? What's your kind of general thoughts? Do you think their upcoming earnings is going to be a flop, or do you think, for face value, I know the top and bottom line, the bar is set extremely low, so I think Lucid could easily beat on that. It's just going to come down to what they have for targets for 2026. So yeah, what's your kind of overall sentiment on that? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.